Listening Library presents All Is Found, a Frozen Anthology by Disney Books, read for you by Andrew Eiden.
Introduction. Dry Banana Hippie Hat, or Happy Birthday Frozen. It's still hard to believe it's been 10 years since Queen Elsa fled Arendelle, throwing her crown into the snow and accidentally creating an eternal winter and bonus ice palace. I'll never forget watching that scene in theaters for the first time, mesmerized by the music and lyrics, as well as the empowering message on the importance of accepting ourselves for who we are, despite whether others will understand. The film was packed with action, adventure, and snowmen, both scary and silly. And to top it all off, an unexpected fairy tale ending where the love of two sisters could thaw a frozen heart. Frozen fever was real, and we all caught it that winter of 2013. Soon, store shelves were as barren of frozen merchandise as Oaken's trading post in Sana was of winter apparel. Families would stand in line over 6 hours at the theme parks for a chance to meet the two sisters in person. And the music began to feel like a soundtrack to our lives, playing wherever we went, often sung by enthusiastic children dressed as their favorite magical snow queen or her feisty younger sister. No one, it seemed, was able to let it go. And this was just the beginning. Over the years, the film spawned several animated shorts and a feature animation sequel that broke box office records. Olaf kept us laughing on Instagram through the depths of the pandemic, and books, comics, and even video games and virtual reality deepened the lore, introducing new characters and entertaining us with side stories set in our favorite Frozen verse. And now we have a third feature film to look forward to. In the meantime, to celebrate the original film's 10th birthday, we've put together a brand new anthology for you to enjoy. 10 original stories, one for each year, written by 10 talented authors who are also Frozen fans. You'll enjoy sweet, nostalgic, never-before-told stories of Anna's and Elsa's childhoods and brand new adventures taking place after the events of Frozen 2. You'll spend time with beloved side characters, Matthias, Oaken, and learn a new Northoldra legend. You'll encounter deadly beasts of Nordic folklore and get to relive Elsa's coronation day, with a rather unexpected time-slippery twist. Some stories may make you laugh, others may make you cry, but we hope all of them will remind you of why Frozen has remained so close to our hearts for these last 10 years, and why it will continue to do so as we journey into the unknown for the next decade to come. With the warmest of hugs, Mary Mancusi, author of Dangerous Secrets, The Story of Iduna and Agnar, and Polar Nights, Cast into Darkness. Anna of Arendelle and the Silver Skates by Diana Peterfreund. The first freeze in Arendelle was a beautiful and terrible thing. Princess Elsa could always sense it coming. Her fingers would tingle, and a deep, starving something would cry out in her heart. She couldn't seem to silence it. Something inside her yearned to go out into the frigid air, to cast her magic down into the snow and up into the crisp, wintry sky. Those nights, she'd bury her fingers into her covers, trying to hide the cold that would inevitably burst forth, turning her pillows and bedsheets as frosty by morning as the ground outside. It was proof that she hadn't yet learned to control her magic, as Grand Pobby had long ago advised. It was proof that she was still unprepared to enter Arendelle society, and the reason that the castle gates remained shut and she remained locked inside. And then, by mid-morning at the latest, would come the worst part of all, the inevitable soft knock on her chamber door. "Elsa?" Anna's voice, plaintive and filled with an unquenchable hope. It had been years, and yet her little sister never gave up. "Do you want to build a snowman?" Elsa sat on the richly brocaded chair in her richly furnished chamber, her gloved hands clasped tightly in her lap. Outside, the ice called to her. At the door, her little sister did the same. "It doesn't have to be a snowman," Anna went on, wheedling. "We could go sledding, or skating?" Elsa winced. In the before times, she and Anna had loved to build snowmen and sled and even skate. They'd wake up in the middle of the night and sneak down into the great hall of the castle. Elsa would use her magic to freeze the floor and send big drifts of snow up against the columns and corners of the room, and they'd have their own winter wonderland. Anna didn't remember any of that anymore. The troll had seen to that. All she knew was that she and Elsa would play in the ice and snow together. He should have erased her memories entirely, and maybe Elsa's too, for good measure. That way, they wouldn't miss each other so much. If only Elsa could learn to control her powers, then she could play with her sister again. They could even build snowmen, or go ice skating. "Elsa?" Anna tried again, always hopeful. Elsa bit her lip. Inside her gloves the frost spread. "Okay," her sister said at last, her voice filled with a sadness as deep as the fjord. "Bye." Long after she was gone, Elsa remained glued to her seat, worried that she'd lose her nerve, and opened the door. It was a good thing that Arendelle Castle's grounds were so expansive, or Princess Anna might have gotten bored years ago. As it was, she felt like she'd memorized every brick in the walls and each tree in the royal gardens. In the spring, she'd given names to every fluffy yellow duckling that hatched in the royal duck pond. And in the autumn, she'd watched tearfully as each duck, now grown and wearing its green and black plumage, flew south for the winter, on adventures Anna herself could barely imagine. One day, perhaps she too would venture beyond these confining walls. Now that very same duck pond was frozen solid, though, and Anna had plans. Even if her sister, once again, had no interest in playing with her, it didn't mean Anna herself had to be stuck inside all winter. She pulled on her warmest, fur-lined cape and her thickest stockings and boots. Once upon a time, Anna remembered it well, she and Elsa had run all over the castle grounds in the winter, building snowmen in the gardens, sledding off the hills near the courtyard, and yes, skating on this duck pond. It had been years since Anna had skated, but it couldn't be that hard to pick up again, right? Earlier, she'd heard 2 kitchen maids whispering about a festival the village was holding this weekend in celebration of the first frost. There would be food and games and fun, and it sounded like a total fantasy. Ice sculpting contests and ice skating races, a winter market, and a hot chocolate stand. Outside the castle, it seemed like everyone was always having fun. She had no idea why her parents never let her go. She also had no idea where her old skates were hidden. She doubted the ones she'd had when she was little would fit anymore, but Elsa's probably would. And Elsa obviously wasn't using them. Anna searched high and low, to no avail. It was very strange. She knew they'd often gone skating. But Anna had never been one to let a little adversity stop her. She grabbed a bit of twine and some smooth lengths of cloth to tie over her boots and tromped out into the snow. The air was cold and clear, and some castle servant had helpfully shoveled the walk down to the duck pond. The ice over the surface was frosty, but clear, and it seemed thick enough to hold her weight, especially if she stayed near the edges of the pond. Fortunately, the servants had also swept the frozen pond clean of snow that might have blown or fallen on the ice, keeping the surface as flat as glass. She sat down on a rock and began to tie the cloth over her shoes. It would have been so much better if she'd had real skates. It would have been so much better if she'd had a lot of things. She cast one last look back at the castle wall, where, far up, she could see the tall windows that belonged to her sister's chamber. For a second, she thought she saw a shadow in the window. "Elsa!" she called and waved furiously. But If that really...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?